Hey guys, welcome to the We Need to Calm Down podcast. I'm Devin.
And I'm Joe.
And this is the show where we talk about all things Taylor Swift.
That's right. This is the show where two friends finally get to let their dedication to our Lord and Savior, Taylor Swift. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Fly.
We'll be discussing everything from song breakdowns, Taylor news, and our insane fan theories.
That is right. I'm very excited for today's episode. We got new backgrounds. We're changing it up. We're attacking it from a different angle. But Devin, what'd you do this weekend?
I went to the rodeo.
Okay.
I channeled because we're covering some older Taylor today, or a mix of Taylor. I felt like I had to get to the root of country Taylor.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
I went
100%
to the
the
rodeo.
reason. Dedicated co-host going to the rodeo.
Potentially putting myself at risk. Okay, so let me...
I've seen the pictures. You definitely put yourself at risk. My gosh.
Okay, you're making it sound like I was irresponsible. To an extent, just for going, potentially, but I took the necessary precautions when I was there. I had sent Joe and a couple friends a picture. So this rodeo, there was a bunch of people, and a lot of them weren't wearing masks. You could probably tell by the demographic. It's like, all right. But anyways, so I get there. Me and the person I went with, we both wore masks, and we had looked in the arena setting, and both sides were like pretty packed, but there was a middle section that was near like where the cows would come out, I guess. So the view wasn't fantastic, but there was like not a lot of people around there. So I said, bet.
That's the one.
Me and him sat right in the middle with a good chunk around us. We put our feet in front of us so no one would sit directly there. We just kind of monitored and made sure no one really got too close. And honestly, that's the best that I can do. I'm honestly closer to people at my job because I can't work remotely, and this is outside. So I felt a little bit better about it.
Is the place, like, because we're also in the northeast of the United States, not very rodeo country, to my knowledge.
Well, I mean, in this particular area, I think so. It's funny because I was telling friends and people that I work with that I was going to the rodeo, and all of them immediately knew, like, oh, you're going to this one. And I'm like, yeah.
Is it the same place? There's like a flea market there too, right?
Yep.
All right, I know exactly where you work because I used to go there all the time as a kid. Yeah, 100%.
Which is crazy. I had never been to.
Yeah, it's nuts.
This was my first rodeo.
You were, oh my gosh, you were posting pictures, and I'm like, that sounds really familiar. That can't be the same place that I went to as a kid. But I didn't go for the rodeo. I went for the flea markets.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. Was it fun? Like, what was it?
It was, honestly, if it wasn't because of COVID, like, I would have gone again. I mean, this was the last one of the season anyways, but it's fun. I think people are just, they're going to do whatever they want right now. So you can really only do precautions that, like, for you. But it was fun. I mean, I love the barrel racing, the girls on the horses just darting around the barrels, trying to make record time. The bull riding, people just getting knocked off the bulls was crazy. There was one section. So, and I have people who, do this stuff or used to do it back in the day. And they were explaining to me, like, the cows don't get hurt. It's just like, they get up and run off afterwards. So, but there was one where there was a guy on a horse and he had to ride up next, like, chase after the cow, little bull, whatever, and just grab it and take it down, like tackling him. And it was muddy and rainy, kind of. So it was quite the show.
It sounds like a great show. It sounds like something I would hate to be a part of.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I can't. I'm not mud. Get out of here. I'm not.
I personally identified with the rodeo clown.
For my life choices, I am a rodeo clown.
Yes, but it was fun. Would I do it again? Maybe in different circumstances, but it was something I've never done before, and it was a cool experience. And now I get to say, "Hey, this ain't my first rodeo."
Now you could say it. Yeah. I think this might just be the alcoholic in me, but I feel like definitely if, like, after COVID, going drinking and enjoying it, I think it would take it to another level for me. I think I would enjoy it.
People were still doing that now. People were bringing giant coolers. Well, at one point I would look around and I was like, oh, people brought drinks. We should have brought something. And this lady who was, like, kind of to the front left of us turns around and she goes, oh, do you want a drink? And I'm like, No. No.
Not from you, no.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm okay. She's like, okay, just let me know.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh.
Nancy.
Okay. All right. We got a lot of show to get to. We are doing something a little bit different this week. Devin, what are we doing?
So, after 14 straight episodes of analyzing and reacting to folklore, all things folklore, we're going to take a quick pause. You might be a little fatigued from folklore. You might want to see some other things. So, we're going to interject with a non folklore topic. We got a couple requests from people, a couple viewers, a couple friends to cover this topic. So, today we will be discussing all things bonus tracks
I love that. I'm
from
so
Taylor
excited for
Swift.
this one.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let's get some context. I mean, I hate to I don't want to oversell, but what is a bonus track? What is the criteria we're going on here? Because there's a lot of different kinds of songs that Taylor's released, be it bonus track, be it demos or unreleased songs, things like that. So what are we specifically talking about on this episode when we say bonus track?
So, for the purposes of this episode, a bonus track is a song included on a deluxe version of an album. So, not the standard edition, it's the deluxe or the platinum or whatever edition of an album, which is usually, but not always, placed at the end of an album. It's usually added to the album.
I think Fearless Platinum Edition is the only time, and it's they put that on the front for some reason, which is odd. All right, so there's a couple of reasons that people would release a bonus track, or an artist would release a bonus track. For number one, for the marketing reason, and we'll get into a little bit more of this as we go down, but it does give people a reason to buy a deluxe edition instead of a standard edition. Or if you really want to screw over your fan base, love them to pieces, they will have already bought the regular edition, and then you release the bonus one later, and they will buy that one. So it just is another way to increase sales and get people to buy more CDs. Especially back in the earlier days when CDs were the focal point of the music industry. Another reason is, especially with Taylor, she just might have had a lot of songs, and some of them just weren't good enough to make the cut of the album. They might not fit the general theme or the storyline or what she had going on, but she didn't want to just leave the song on the cutting room floor. They still wanted it out. Or there's just, in a lot of cases with Taylor, they're just different versions of the songs that she had that wasn't the one that she settled on being the optimal one, but wanted to see what other people thought, or give people the option to listen to it. Kind of like a 14-minute version of All Too Well. Anyway.
Never get over that. Maybe one day. All right. So let's go over this topic. Let's dive deep. We're just going to quickly outline Taylor's history with bonus tracks. So we looked on Spotify and then did some other research. But if you look on Spotify, self-titled, technically there is no deluxe version. But when you actually look into what was released back in the day versus what we have now, the deluxe version is on Spotify. That is technically the entire album. So what isn't on Spotify was the Best Buy digital download. The first week that it was dropped, iHeart ? Was on that rendition. So it is not on a streaming platform at the moment.
Which is really upsetting to me. I love that song. Not obviously not top tier or anything, but it's such a nice high school song.
It honestly, just a quick side note, it just reminds me so much of how country Taylor was back in the day. I was listening to it on the way back from work, and it's just so twangy and yeah. So then the deluxe edition, we have 3 songs: I'm Only Me When I'm With You, Invisible, and A Perfectly Good Heart. And then on the 2008 reissue edition, it was just Teardrops on My Guitar, the pop version,
which is interesting. And we'll get more into how she releases, or why she releases, or just the alternate versions later.
Yeah. Then we have the Fearless Platinum Edition with 6 bonus tracks. We have Jump Then Fall, Untouchable, Forever and Always piano version, Comin' with the Rain, Superstar, and The Other Side of the Door. Then we go into Speak Now with another 6 bonus tracks.
She's pumping them out.
We have Ours, which another quick side note, I had no idea
Me either.
ours
I was
was a
thinking that the
bonus track.
entire time.
Hmm.
Entire time. Like we went through it, I'm like, what? This is like a popular song. Why is this a bonus track?
Yeah.
That's so funny that we had the exact same thing. Yeah.
Hmm. If this was a movie, Superman, Back to December acoustic version, Haunted acoustic version, and mine pop mix. Then we go on to Red, another 6 bonus tracks. We
Jeez.
have The Moment I Knew, Come Back, Be Here, Girl at Home, Treacherous original demo recording, Red original demo recording, and State of Grace acoustic version. And then 1989, they have the deluxe edition, which is 3 songs. There are 6 total things, but 3 of them were voice memos, so I didn't include them. But Wonderland, You Are in Love, and New Romantics. And then 0 for Reputation, 0 for Lover, and 1 for Folklore being The Lakes.
That's so interesting. Like I definitely want to like spend some time talk for one because you see there's like a it's steady too. Like there's 5 for self-titled, 6663001. And if you look at it, let's see. 1989 came out in 2014, which I think is like when we start to get to the peak of streaming, like Spotify, Apple Music, like all of that stuff starts to really take over.
Yeah.
Which I think could be a reason why they dropped the number. I don't know. Why do you think they dropped? Why do you think especially with Reputation Lover, just none?
Well, so here's my opinion. I think 1989 they released 6 things. I think that she wanted to try something new with the voice memo, so
Mm-hmm.
cutting that in half completely makes sense. You're still getting the same amount of bonus content. It's just not bonus songs. But then you get to Reputation, and Reputation kind of came out of nowhere. Um, Again, her comeback. I think that she didn't need bonus tracks for Reputation. I feel like that was a very cut and dry, this is
Mm-hmm.
Reputation. And then you get to Lover. Lover, I feel like could have had bonus tracks. If it really wanted to, Lover could have had bonus tracks. But again, from a business standpoint, if you are making all of your money from streaming, what's the point of a bonus song if you're not going to make revenue from it,
Mm-hmm.
from physical copies, or which is exactly what she ended up doing with Folklore,
Mm-hmm.
with,
I think
the lakes.
I agree. Yeah, no, I think also with Reputation, like, yeah, I don't think Reputation was a planned album by any stretch. And I think it was very much this is an album I just have to make right now. It's in the moment. It's a timed thing for me to do. And there's no time for me to like, I don't think there were any excess tracks that got cut. I think it was just, these are all the tracks that I want to do. These are all the tracks that are coming out.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
could be wrong,
I
but
think Reputation was planned because I think you have to be very strategic in your comeback. So I don't think it was kind of thrown together. Like I don't think that of Reputation. I think it was a very strategic plan, and because it was so strategic, she didn't feel like she had to add more. I feel like this was just here's my statement,
hmm.
goodbye.
I don't want to say that I think it was rushed by any
Mhm.
means or anything like that, because I mean it's still a masterpiece. I mean,
Well,
granted,
yeah.
she could probably rush a masterpiece, but like I don't know. I think like I guess I might be just misremembering, but I feel like it was like a very in the moment record. Lover, I can see it already has it has 17 tracks on it.
Hmm.
Like I don't think. I mean, it could have a bonus track, but I don't think it needed to.
No.
And I think we had the same reason, like we said, like with the streaming and everything. I don't think she needed to. But I also noticed like Reputation, Lover, and Folklore, the ones with the fewest bonus tracks, she instead employed a new way to sell records and actual physical CDs. By Reputation, they had 2 bonus editions that you could buy at Target, which I bought both of, that had
Mhm.
2 different magazines that are in a closet somewhere in my apartment that I don't know where they are, which is great. Spent my money really well. Also don't know where the second CD went, but
Oh, good.
and then Lover had 4 different versions that you could buy instead of any bonus tracks. And then Folklore had 8, which I already complained about enough that I don't need to go into that any farther. But I think like she's just, instead of doing more songs, she's just giving supplemental, like you said with 1989, just going with supplemental content that's like not exactly music, but like here's more art and more poems or more behind the scenes stuff that's like
More
kind of filling
collectibles.
that void, which I don't know if it really is. I still really like her bonus songs.
Yeah.
I had a couple of theories with it. Number one being that like when you're laying the groundwork for a new or budding artist in the industry, there's a lot of promotion that goes with it, and having these bonus tracks will help with selling and raising awareness
Hmm.
and elongating a marketing cycle. So like when she was first coming out, like having all of these strings of like, here's a bonus album at Best Buy, here's this, here's that, it just keeps her in the news media longer,
Hmm.
and keeping her relevant longer.
Yeah.
And now that she's like an absolute icon, she doesn't really need the additional promotion. Everything she does is promotion anymore. And I also think like she had a bank of songs that she had written when she was a kid or a teenager. Like she just like wrote like crazy amount of songs and then just had to get them out. And like occasionally she's like, all right, here, throw this as a bonus track here. But and then as now she's writing as she goes more. She doesn't just have a bank. But I just noticed you added to my note here.
I think she definitely has a bank, and that haunts me every night.
I could see it.
Just thinking about all the unreleased songs that she just
I,
has sitting
I don't.
around, untouched, unreleased.
Oh, that's another, because I remember, were we going over when we were looking up? She posted something like she sent something to Aaron Desner. That was like a voice memo. It was like voice memo 198 or something. Like it was like an astronomical number. And it was like,
Hmm.
geez, Taylor, how many voice memos do you have on your phone?
So many.
Like I don't know if she has a bank of like finished songs, but she definitely has like a
No,
bank of like when will this fit into the record that I'm doing, and she can like kind of shop them.
100%. From dating a musician, I know 100% there's just hundreds of, I mean, and that's from someone who, has been making music for probably half the time that she has. And he had like hundreds of just clips and
Mm-hmm.
startings and things. So she probably has thousands.
That does don't I don't need this now because that's gonna haunt me. Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. But like we said, bonus tracks are an incentive to buy physical copies of an album, and since Red, physical media has really been on the decline, and I mean it severely limits the need or the use of them. And I think she just did get really creative in new ways to like give you a reason to buy a physical CD instead of just, oh, here's some extra songs that you're going to get on Spotify anyway.
And exactly, like, she got very creative. There are collectibles, there's signed editions, there are different artwork, there's different things included. And the whole reason because of that is you make substantially more money when you buy a physical copy of an album rather than even streaming an album or
Mm-hmm.
streaming a song. You're making, I forget the numbers. This is what I
It's
went to
like
school for, but
it's not even pennies on the dollar. Like it's fractions of pennies per
yeah.
stream. And don't get me wrong, someone like Taylor Swift, who I went through and we looked at Spotify streams for every one of these bonus songs to kind of map them out. She's probably making, I don't know, maybe not even a million, but maybe $1 million
She's
in
making mad
Spotify.
money.
She's
But
making mad money, but yeah, it's not viable for a majority of artists. Like
yeah.
unless you are Taylor Swift level famous,
Hmm.
you're not going to you're making your bank from CDs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So yes, so we covered why no bonus tracks for Lover. Um, Next we're going to go into our favorite bonus tracks, favorite album with the best bonus tracks, and kind of compare them to what Spotify tells us everyone thinks are the best. We went through and we made a spreadsheet again, which I'm really excited about.
Joe made the spreadsheet. I clicked onto it, went, oh, and then I filled out my section. So credit goes to him.
I love making spreadsheets so much. So that was one of the reasons I was really excited about doing this episode, because I haven't had a chance to like break some stuff down into spreadsheets with Taylor, run some formulas or anything like that. So I went through Spotify for all of the bonus tracks. For this specific thing, I did cut out, I do still have the streams, but I cut out like acoustic versions or alternate versions of songs just like, because they're not original songs, so I just thought they would be easier to cut out for this one. And there's a lot of issues with this kind of data and doing it in this way, and there are certain things that like I want to mention. I'm going to throw out the same disclaimer that I threw out when we did Spotify songs the last time with unpopular songs. These songs will definitely skew towards newer songs, and the reason being, one, Taylor was a single country star which limits her audience very much so for a majority of her career, until Red, where she split it between country pop, and then 1989, where she opened up to a whole new slew of, like, I think 1989 is really her, I hate to say it, but her breakout album, because it just drew in a whole new fan base of people
Mhm.
that otherwise would, like, I have a lot of friends that did not like Taylor Swift at all, and then 1989 came out and she's like, okay, yeah, I like this now. So I think so that's going to skew a lot of the numbers. People are going to listen to 1989 more than they do self-titled Red, Fearless, Speak Now, all of that, because it's not as broad of an audience. Also, Spotify came out and started picking up steam, like we said, around 1989. So people are going to be listening to the new stuff, not so much go back to the old stuff that they may have already been listening to for a lot. So these numbers aren't perfect, but they do give us a little bit of a gauge of how popular these songs are and how much people like them. So I'm not going to run through all the numbers for all of them, but I did two different calculations on them. So I did the average number of listens that each song had, and then the total number of listens that that CD had. So for self-titled, the average number of streams that the three bonus tracks had was 11 million and 11 million. I'm just gonna say round down. It was 11 million point one. 11.1 million, I think is the right way to say it,
Mhm.
whatever. And then total was 33.5 million, which isn't that many, which makes sense. My personal preference here, I think all of these songs are trash. And again, when I say that, Taylor Swift doesn't make trash. These are all like 89s and 90s, but still trash.
Honestly, I agree, but I'm only me when I'm with you was one of my favorites when I was younger, and I'm
mm.
like, oh, nostalgia.
I do
Anyways.
say, like, it is nostalgia, and it's something like I'll bring up towards the end about like these songs, specifically from Speak Now to self-titled. But Fearless, the average number of streams actually less than, excuse me, self-titled, was 10.7 million, which is actually, now that I'm looking at it, kind of shocking. But I guess like there were also a lot of them, and there was like a couple that really, like Jump and Fall and Untouchable, really kind of skewed it, and then
Mhm.
the rest weren't nearly as popular, even though that's an absolute travesty. And they totaled 53.4 million streams. Speak Now, another one with, I guess this one only has three because only three original bonus tracks.
Mhm.
And I took out, like, I think Back to December was insane, skewing the results. But Speak Now had 18.4 million average view or average streams, and then 55.1 million total. Red, another three with three non-original songs, but the original songs actually all fairly even.
Mhm.
Uh, was 16.7 million and then 50.2 million in streams. So we're starting to, like, you're starting to notice there's a trend. Like, aside from self-titled, they're totaling around 50 million streams
Mhm.
each album. And then we get to 1989 when everyone and their mother was like, "Oh my God, Taylor Swift, she's a pop idol now." Um, yeah, that was my nerd voice, or otherwise known as my normal speaking voice.
Okay.
The average was 35 million streams for this record, and then a whopping 105.2 million streams for just these three bonus tracks.
Because they're all perfection, but I'll talk
There,
about that later.
two-thirds of them are all perfection. Folklore obviously only had the one, so the average is the same as the total and is the same as the regular, which is just 11.8. That's a newer one. I also have a feeling like it's nowhere gonna. It's, I don't want to say it, but I do feel like I feel like she might have peaked a little bit in, like, with 1989, maybe Reputation. I don't know. I
In
maybe
terms of
at
bonus
least
tracks or in
in
terms
terms
of
that definitely in
career?
terms of bonus, not in career. No,
Okay.
I don't think she has a peak in terms of career. Maybe, I mean, it's weird to say. Maybe, like, on the broader spectrum, it's possible she has.
Mm.
I don't know how Folklore has done compared to them, but like looking at streaming numbers, like 1989, Reputation, like those were astronomical.
Yeah.
Lover, I think, had a small dip. We'll have to do another episode of that. Is Taylor Swift in decline? Opinion piece. What we think no, but the world says.
It's
So yeah,
just you continue.
no, I was just gonna say yeah. So Lakes obviously much lower than all of them, but it has a lot of things going against it. But I mean, 11 million streams. It's already higher than most of the songs from Fearless, most of the songs from Speak Now, most of the ones from Self-Titled. So, I mean, it has room for growth.
I just think two comments really quick, jumping
Of course.
back. If you look at Fearless, the fact that the least streamed bonus track off Fearless is The Other Side of the Door, only by 100,000. But that is
Still,
insane to me. That
it
is the
bothers
best one.
me. It bothers me. I disagree. I think
I
Jump
know
and
you
Fall is
disagree,
better.
but
But yeah, because I think when we were doing the unpopular songs, like Jump and Fall was more popular than a song on the actual album itself,
wow.
which is nuts to me. Like
Mm.
I think it was the only instance of that. But yeah, it was one of the times like, and this is something I was going to mention and that I want to talk about is the fact that like where I was going through these and like I've been a Taylor Swift fan since I would say around the time Fearless came out, maybe a little bit later. But it was around Fearless Speak Now. That was like the height. And when I did, I just downloaded her entire back catalog, but I didn't pay attention to what was bonus, what wasn't. And then I
Mm-hmm.
got obsessed and eventually grew out of that. Yeah, right. But I downloaded like all of the like unreleased songs, Daddy, When Daddy Let Me Drive, like all of these like ridiculous, crazy extra versions of stuff. And it got to a point where I just didn't know what was a bonus track and what was an album release. And I think, and we mentioned this a little bit while we were preparing for this episode, but like that's special.
Mm-hmm.
Like, especially, I specifically point out Fearless, but we can also point out Ours if this was a movie, Superman. Like a lot of these songs, you listen to them and you're like, is this a bonus track or is this the regular version? And to be able to not distinguish that, like these songs are that high of quality that you just assume they're on the actual record. I can name. I was just today. I'm getting back into Fall Out Boy. I was listening to From Under the Cork Tree, which is one of my favorite albums of all time, and I found a bonus track or a couple of bonus tracks that I never knew existed on this album, and I listened to them and I'm like, these are not the best. Like I
Yeah.
was like, I was really excited because I'm like, oh my god, new Fall Out music, blah, blah blah. But then I was like, okay, I can skip these. I don't even need to like these and add them to my Spotify. These
Mm-hmm.
are not the best. And you look at Taylor and like, they're all good. Like they're all on album quality songs.
I just can't even. I mean, we said it before. I'll say it again. The fact that ours is just so
Yeah.
drastically higher than the
Mm-hmm.
other two. I mean, if this was a movie, it probably streamed about half, but Superman only streamed
A third.
9.5 million. Meanwhile, 30 million from ours. Like that's
Yeah.
insane to me.
Like ours I think is the one that stands. Ours and Jump and Fall are the
Well,
ones that
ours has
stand
a
out to
music
me.
video too, right?
Does it? I didn't
Yes,
know that. I feel like I remember.
I
Yeah, it
think so.
does. I
Yeah.
think it does. I'm
Well, because
gonna just
it's
go ahead.
people throw rocks at things that shine. I'm pretty sure it's like
It's got
she's like
visuals
in an
to it.
office and
Yep.
she's like moving
The
stuff. Yeah.
first thing is an office. First thing said is an
Now,
office.
let me go off the record really quick. Is this the only bonus track with a music video? I'm Only Me When I'm With You was live concert footage. Ours is the only music video that legitimately has a music video and isn't just concert footage.
All right, so
Wasn't
let's.
ours a single?
It was a promotional single.
Yeah, so that's the reason.
Yeah. No, but I mean that's still something. Like that's
Mm-hmm.
still huge. And I guess that makes sense. Yeah, because it's a promotional single, so it's obviously promoted more than the other
Yeah.
bonus tracks, and it had a lot more. But there's something to ours because like I don't know if I've said it before. I don't really watch music videos. It's not like a huge.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a huge thing for me. But I could visualize everything that happened in ours. Like in my head, there was always a music video to it because I just knew it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something we might I don't know, we might do an episode about it. Well, maybe when we get to the song breakdown of 4 years when we do the one for Speak Now. But ours, there's just something about that song that's so special to me. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like our song, but like matured a little bit. Like
Yeah.
it feels like a different version of our song, which probably just because they both have the word "our" in them. But I don't know. I that song does hold a special place in my heart. But yeah, 30 million. That's the promotional single does definitely explain that though.
Yeah.
Which is good that we got that. I think Jump and Fall might have the same thing, but I'm not
Mhm.
100% sure. So that is the gist of how these songs have done. So we wanted to go through, do our top fives, what our top 5 bonus tracks are. Devin, how do we want to do this? Do we want to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Let's do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll do
Okay.
comparatively 5, 5, 4, 4.
Okay. I went through based on the numbers. Like I said, numbers not perfect, but we're just going to use it for this to see the audience's top 5. If your audience top 5, whoever you are, Mr. or Mrs. Audience that's listening, has a different one, please feel free to share it with us. Comment on the YouTube video or send us a chat or anything on Instagram, Twitter, all of that stuff. We definitely want to hear your guys' opinions on these too. But my number 5, shockingly, ours.
My number 5 was If This Was a Movie, because honestly, underrated song. I listened to it again today, and it's just perfection.
Fun fact, the name of this podcast was almost If This Was a Podcast.
Really?
Yeah, that was one of the working titles that I
wow.
had for it. Yeah. It was between that and We Need to Calm Down, and I think We Need to Calm Down is just strictly better. So,
It's
but I
more
thought if this was,
accurate of
it's
our
more
energy
accurate of
levels.
my energy entirely. I've had my boss tell me that multiple times.
Okay.
Not even related to Taylor Swift.
Okay.
But no, yeah. If this was a movie, is definitely there's just like I feel like there's just a different way that she wrote songs in the Fearless Speak Now era that I yearn for and very much miss. Audience top 5. Number 5 was Come Back Be Here, which I think is really interesting.
Honestly, that's probably like my number 6. It was very
Really?
close.
Really, I'm trying to think. I feel like I want my number 6 to be on Red, but I think if it was, it would have to be The Moment I Knew. That's my Red track. I don't know why.
Honestly, and it's really, really sad, but I listened to all the bonus tracks again today. The Moment I Knew does not hit for me. It sounds like I kind of cringe when I listen to it. I'm like, oh girl, no. Ugh.
There's something about that I'm trying to think of the lyric that like goes with it, but like the and it was like slow, and like the music just comes in and just like it feels like a crashing wave that comes in around you,
I
and
know.
I don't know why that just hypes me up, and I love being ridiculously depressed, so it really works for me.
Yeah.
I've never experienced that emotion before, but like we also mentioned that The Moment I Knew and Come Back Be Here, I forget which one is which half the time.
I
Do
don't.
you?
One
Oh,
is good,
okay.
one is not.
Okay, Devin. Jeez.
No, they're
All
both
right.
good.
So my number 4 is The Lakes. I don't know if it's recency, and I feel like I had that problem with folklore as a whole, but I just really like The Lakes. I
Yeah,
really like it.
I do too. It's a little higher for me, but my number 4 is Wonderland.
Which is a little higher for me. We could just say, actually, this is perfect. We could just say my Wonderland is 3 and Devin's 3 is The Lakes. We just absolutely switch these two.
Exactly. And then
They're so good, and they're both like they're just like Wonderland specifically. I love that song so much. There's just so much in it, and I'm not a 1989 head. It is one of my least favorite albums. Still great, but like Wonderland, I think is one of my favorite songs on that album. It might be top 3 for me.
wow.
Like it is really, really, really good. Wonderland is number 4 for the audience top 5. So Devin, you nailed it right on the head. And number
Basic fan.
3, number 3 is Ours. So I nailed that one.
Well, you did it. That's 5. Okay.
Our number 2 is the exact same.
The other side of the door with your face and a beautiful life.
Yo, that is like, I think that's just like the thing that changed my life as a child, is that ranting bridge at the end. I remember hearing that for the first time and going, and then it just ends? And it just ends. I was beside myself. It was a revolutionary moment in my childhood. And by childhood, I mean high school.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer on that song. It was probably a couple of years ago that I listened to it for the first time. But I guess I was able to appreciate it more because it never left. As soon as I heard it, it was top tier for me. But so the audience top three or top two. Track two is You Are in Love, which honestly, that might have
Trash.
also been my number six.
Trash.
I think
Absolute trash.
You Are in Love comes above Come Back Be Here for me, but such a
I
good
do not like that song at all. I cannot stand it.
trash taste.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I know. I'm well aware. It's that one and This Love. Like those are the two they always like. They're like Come Back Be Here the Moment I Knew for me. Like they're depressing, they're slow, they're sad, they're about love. Blah, boring.
They're not depressing. Have you not been in love? This love
We've
and
been through this. No, I have not.
but this love and You're in Love, just so good. So like
No, I remember. I remember when she performed. Didn't she perform it in 1989? I don't know why my voice got that high for that question.
you can
No,
hear it in the silence, and she
yeah,
sings it
and then
live, and just
she would make you like sing it back to her.
mhm.
Like, yeah, no, that was cool. I still didn't like it. But
Okay.
that was a cool way to do that song with a callback. What's your I hate you. You are such a basic fan.
I
Um
am not. I just have
you,
taste.
nah, nah. I feel like I have a vendetta against this song, and like it
I don't know
definitely
why.
deserves to be in my top 5, but I just refuse to put it in there on principle. What's your my number one, because we're not going to talk about it that much, is Jump and Fall. We already did talk about it a lot. There's something about that guitar that like I just love that intro. It's so fun, it's so upbeat and jovial. Yeah, that's Jump and Fall, hands down. My favorite bonus track. Devin, what's your totally left field out of the way that no one else knows?
The correct answer to the best bonus track is New Romantics. It just comes out of nowhere. It is infectious. It is a fantastic party song. It just gets you up and going. New Romantics out of nowhere, left field, just the beat, infectious. Wonderful song. Best song.
It
Best
should have been a
bonus song.
single. 100% should have been a
It
single.
should have been a single. Mm-hmm.
Should have been a single. That's going to be the new hashtag. Hashtag New Romantics should have been a single. It streamed the most of any song on here, and not even a contest. Even more than all of the alternate versions of songs. It streamed 45.3 million times.
As it
Uh,
should.
it's huge. And I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. It is a phenomenal song. I don't know why I have this weird vendetta. I guess I'm just like a wannabe hipster and don't want to like what everyone likes. That sounds right in my crappy personality. But yeah, no, it's a phenomenal song. It is absolutely a great song. And it's just goes to show, like, it's a bonus track. It's a bonus track.
Mm-hmm.
No one hears New Romantics and goes, oh, yeah, no, that's like number 6 or 7. Like, there's no way that's an afterthought. Not only that, it's I think if this order is correct, it's the last bonus track.
I think so. And on a banger.
That's true. That's true. And on a high note.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of makes it really obvious where Devin's best bonus track album falls.
Listen. And the audience agreed with me. It is also the same.
They did.
So 1989.
I gave good statistical reasons for why the audience agreed with you that disprove why it's just popularity. But whatever. Yeah, go for it.
1989.
Yeah.
The 3 songs we talked about. You Are in Love, New Romantics, Wonderland. There are no skips. It is the best bonus track compilation on any album. 0 skips. Just so good. So great. And it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
You know why?
1989 isn't my favorite album, but those bonus tracks are my top album for it.
See, the thing is with you, like, the thing I don't like about You Were in Love is it is slow. Like, it is a very slow song, and I feel like when I'm in Wonderland moment, I'm like I think it would be better if it was clean than You Are in Love than Wonderland than New Romantics, because then you end on like high note.
Yeah.
Like,
well, you gotta have the highs and the lows to contrast you. You feel both things immediately.
a good mixtape should rise and fall. No, it should be all rise. That's a good How I Met Your Mother joke for the fans. No, I'll give it to you. Wonderland and New Romantics are extremely high for me. Like, they are both phenomenal songs. But I just you were, like you said, you were a late bloomer when it comes to Taylor, and I was very much Fearless Speak Now is my height of Taylor. And for some reason, no matter what she comes out with, be it Reputation, anything, Lover, any of those, like I love Lover and I love Folklore. Those are like amazing records to me. But Fearless, Speak Now, and Red are forever going to be untouchably the best things that she ever created. So for me, it's Fearless. It was between Fearless and Speak Now, which was really a tough choice, but like Jump and Fall, Untouchable, which I recently found out, and we're going to do an episode on this, is a cover. Which I remember I sent you Untouchable by, what is it, Luna Coil or Luna Halo or some weird band. And I was like, listen to this. And you're like, what is it? And I'm like, just listen to it. And you were like, what? What is this? And I sent it to a couple of my friends, and they're like, oh, this is pretty cool. I could jam with this. I'm like, yeah, you're jamming to a Taylor Swift song, even though she didn't write it.
Yeah.
Untouchable's great. Come In With the Rain, honestly, is like my sleeper track. Like, I don't know why. I was listening to it again today. We made a playlist on Spotify. I'll link it in the description below. But it's just so good. There's so much emotion in it, and I really enjoy it. Superstar, it's fine. There's nothing like, it doesn't stand out. Other Side of the Door obviously stands out. Speak Now, I really like Hours. I really like If This Were a Movie. Superman is really good too, but there's just something about Fearless has it outweighed for me. Red, I just don't. I like more of the regular album of Red than I do the bonus tracks. So for me, it's got to be Fearless. It's got to be Fearless.
All right.
All right. So the last thing that we have to go through right now is our favorite alternative versions of songs. So like we said, a lot of these bonus tracks were either demo recordings, pop versions, acoustic versions, like all these like extraneous versions of songs they're aren't original songs. They're just little tidbits or extras for you. To go through the quick list right now of what they are, Teardrops on My Guitar, the pop version. We have Forever and Always, the piano version. We have Back to December, the acoustic version, Haunted acoustic, Mine, the pop mix, which is funny because they designate that as a pop mix and Teardrops is pop version. We have the original demo recordings of both Treacherous and Red, and we have State of Grace, the acoustic version. So those are all in all, it is 8 songs. So we only did the top 3 of these, what our favorite ones are. And I think these actually all, we have one difference.
Yeah.
What's your number 3?
Oh, my number 3.
Everyone knows your number 3. You love this song.
It is. It's one of my favorites. My number 3 is Back to December, the acoustic version.
I can't fault you for it. It's really great, and it streamed the most again because Devin just goes with whatever's popular. She doesn't think for herself.
Don't.
No, it streamed 38.7 million times, which is astronomical compared to everything else. Like the only thing that streamed more than it is New Romantics. Absolutely insane. It's great. It's really good. My only gripe with it is that it didn't feel different enough, which
honestly, Back to December was the 3 because everything else just wasn't in my tops.
That's fair. And that's 100% fair. Mm-hmm. Mine is Forever and Always. And I know you weren't a giant fan of the piano version, but for me, there's just something about the emptiness of it, because it is such a desperate song. It is such like an emotional, like just the taking away all of the production of it and just having a girl at a piano singing it, I think adds a lot to the story, the feeling and the emotion of it.
Yeah.
And that it's not my favorite song. Actually, 2/3 of the songs on this of this list are not my favorite songs. But I think this version adds enough to warrant its inclusion on as a bonus track.
Well, I'd agree with that, because if you think about the original version, it sounds more angry, desperation.
It's very poppy. It's also very poppy.
This one is very kind of sad desperation.
100%. And then what's your number 2, which is my number 1?
We just flip-flopped on these for the next 2. But so my number 2 is State of Grace. And my number 1 is Haunted.
absolutely nuts to me. My number two is Haunted. My number one is State of Grace.
Hmm.
I honestly think I could flip it and be completely fine.
Yeah.
But I think when I did this, it was very much trying to not take into account how much I loved the song itself, just like
Hmm.
the version of the song. And I don't like State of Grace. I think it's a fine song. I think it's an amazing opener.
Hmm.
It definitely is the best song to open Red. There's a lot of good stuff in it. My friend really liked it because he's like, it reminds me of you too. And I was like, that's interesting, but okay. Um, but the acoustic, I think it just changes
Hmm.
everything about the song.
Yeah.
Like it is,
It's so gentle.
it makes it so fragile
Hmm.
sounding. Like it is a testament to like, this is, to me, State of Grace is the epitome of all right, let's try to change it up and see how this song plays in a different light. Um, and yeah, I don't think any other song does it better. Like it definitely earned its place as a bonus track of something I wanted to hear another version of.
Yeah.
Haunted is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Honestly, here's the thing. I never really got into Haunted originally. And then as I got older, I got into it more. But the acoustic version just hits different.
Mm-hmm. I remember I when I first learned Speak Now and like was getting into it, like I wanted to play guitar on it, but
Hmm.
like it it was weird because you can't really play like electric guitar on anything, and like acoustic's kind of weird. And playing Haunted on acoustic guitar was so much fun. And like obviously I wanted to play regular Haunted, but like I couldn't because I
Yeah.
sucked at guitar, still
Dun,
do.
dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. But like when they had the acoustic version, it was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm
Hmm.
feeling this.
Yeah,
It adds so much to it. And
it
like
really does.
it's the same thing like you said with most acoustic songs, stuff like that. With like I said with Forever and Always, it takes out all of the air in the song and it gives you a very bare bones, and like the echo of like a hollow room of one
Hmm.
person with a guitar feels haunted.
Yeah.
Like it really accentuates and adds to the song. And I think that's the thing. I think that's half the reason we didn't pick a lot of the other ones. Like we didn't pick Mine Pop Mix or Teardrops on My Guitar. They sound like almost identical to the
Hmm.
one that came out. Um,
If not overproduced, in my
uh-huh.
opinion.
Well, that's the other thing is like you definitely have a better ear for it. Like we were talking about like the demo versions of songs, and until today, I always knew I didn't like the Red version, the Red demo version, but I never understood why. And today I was listening like, this is up tempo. Like this is a faster
Mhm.
tempo, more production song. That's why I don't like it.
The ad lib placements are just not, I'm not a fan of it.
I want to do an episode on just her ad libbing because I have theories about that. But and then Treacherous, it just doesn't sound. It just, they don't sound different. Like,
Yeah.
and it's a credit to Taylor because like we said when we did Lover, like this girl can wake up with lyrics or a tune in her head and just play what the end song sounds like. Why do
She's
we need
too
a
good.
demo?
Hmm.
Why do we need a demo? We already know what the song's going to sound like and it's going to be perfect.
Yep.
Um, so yeah, so that is our top three alternate versions of songs that we think stood out amongst all of those. We wanted to do that separate from the original bonus tracks. So Devin, do you have anything you want to say before we close?
No, I think pretty much summed it up. We talked a good amount about it.
We got another hour episode. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we had an hour episode last week. Before we do close, I want to just do one quick thing before we go into our outro spiel. It is the last week of September while we're recording this. This is coming out on September 29th, I want to say.
Mhm.
I'm sure everyone has heard this a million times, but I just want to encourage everyone to make sure that they are registered to vote. And if you aren't, register. Taylor put out a huge PSA with voter resources for National Registration Day. I've linked those resources in the episode description on YouTube and in the episode description on any podcast platform you're listening to. Please check them out. Know your early mail-in voting information, all of that stuff. Have a plan to vote and make sure you're registered. Yeah, please vote.
Yes.
But other than that, once you're done voting, or maybe before, it depends. Please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on, be it Spotify, Apple. I swear I should have this down by now. Apple, all of them. There's so many of them. We're available so many places. If you're listening on one of them, subscribe to it, I guess. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
Leave us, if you're listening on Apple, leave us a 5-star review and tell us what you like about the show. Tell us if there's something you want to see. We had people reach out to me and Devin directly, say, hey, we'd love to hear about the bonus tracks. And that's why this episode happened. So if there's something you want to hear about, we'll make it work. We're really excited for more content. We're going to dive back into folklore a little bit, but it was a really nice reprieve, and I'm so excited that we didn't for this episode. But yeah, let us know what you think. Give us a review. Tell a friend about us.
Mm-hmm. And follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at We Need to Calm Down Podcast. Twitter is WNTCD Podcast. We're also on YouTube, so you get to see our lovely faces and hear our lovely voices. Leave a comment, subscribe, DM us, let us know what you think. We've been getting a lot of comments on YouTube, and we love responding to them. So let us know what you think. Like Joe said, if you thought that this was a great idea away from folklore and you want to see us do more, let us know.
People love disagreeing with my hot takes on the YouTube.
Yes,
Which
they
I
do.
cannot fault them for.
That's okay.
We'll see you on Thursday for our next episode. Until then,
Come back. We'll be here.